Hey everybody, this is Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc. I hope you're enjoying all of the Papertrey Inc. 9th anniversary festivities so far. We have so much to show you in the next week or so. I'm excited about today because I get to show you all of the details of a new die collection that I will be releasing throughout the coming year. It's called Tiny Town. Many of you are probably familiar with the Petite Places collection that I did last year, which was a series of super tiny little buildings and scenes to fit inside of the clear domes. There were several requests for something similar in a larger scale, and so I'm excited to show you all about the new Tiny Town dies. Alright, so let me show you a little bit about what we are releasing this month to kick off the Tiny Town collection. Since these buildings are quite a bit larger, we wanted to really try to come up with something that would enable you to kind of build your collection and customize each piece without having to buy this huge die collection for each and every building. So what we did is we came up with something called Tiny Town Basics. And what it is it's an open die that will allow you to do some customization from the different sets that we'll be releasing throughout the year. You can see here where it's an open die. This is the front of the building and the side of the building. And it's open, which will allow you to drop in some of the different window and door cutouts and so forth that we'll be adding to the collection as the year goes along. So the Basics collection does come with some cutouts to get you started. There is this little piece which you can just drop right in there. When you run this through your die cutting machine, this is what you're going to want to do. It's pretty simple. We wanted to come up with something that was pretty user friendly. Didn't have a bunch of little pieces floating around, so these are all ready, laid out for you. You can just drop that down in there, and I like to secure it with a post-it note when I run it through, and that will cut out all of your window and door cutouts for the front of the building. Okay, and then there is another little window cutout. There are two windows together on this single die, and this one can be dropped in over here on this side, and then that will cut your two window openings for the side. Okay, and then of course, like I said, you'll need two of these to assemble one house. So on the second one that you cut, it will be the back of the house on the side. So that one you will actually have to run through twice. Once to cut the windows out of the back, and then if you want the windows on the other side, which you probably do, you'll have to just run that through a second time. And now if you want to do some measuring and draw some pencil lines to kind of keep everything lined up, you surely can do that. But I did find that when I created mine, it was pretty easy to just eyeball it, and like I said, I secured things with post-it notes when I run it through my machine. Okay, let me just show you. I have one here partially assembled. And I want to show you some of the different options for closing up the roof. There are some tabs built into the roof, and there's also a little embossed design that you can see will kind of some shingles that will emboss your cardstock when you run it through your die cutting machine. And these tabs on the top on the roof, you have a few different options. You can tuck them in like I have here to create just kind of a little favor box. Or you can fold those up like this. There are two holes that it will cut, and you can tie some twine through there or some ribbon. And then there is also this die. I should have shown you this here with the collection, but this is also included in the Basics collection, and it's a little handle. And here I have one cut from white cardstock, and all that does is you fold that in half, and then you can place that over top of those tabs and line up the holes, and that will just give your treat box kind of a cute little handle. Just a different look. So it's totally, lots of different options there for how you want to use your box, what you're going to do with it. If you're going to use it for a little village piece, you're probably going to want to tuck those tabs inside. And we also are releasing two different optional roof panels. Now these can be used on top of here. There were several requests over the past year for something to create actual little village pieces. And I think these optional roofs will give this little box more of an appearance of an actual village piece. You can see here if we put that over the top, would just glue that on the top. That will finish that off nicely. There's two different options. One has rectangular shingle cutouts and the other one has scallops. Okay, then we are also releasing the church editions. This is the Tiny Town Church. And this, like I said, everything gets built off of this basic set. So to assemble the church, you will need the basic set, and then these are just the church accessories. You can see here, I'll show you this one. The church comes with the front of the church, and then all the little window frames and cutouts for that as well. Okay, so I'm going to just run you through the assembly we'll go ahead and assemble the church. Since the church has that extra front panel, there are a few extra steps. So I'll just run you through that, and that way, if you know how to do that, the basic house will be a breeze. Alright, so let's get started. I already have my pieces die cut. I did want to show you one thing though before I start assembling. Since you are going to want, you don't have to do the window cutouts. You can leave it solid if you want it more of like a treat box where you don't want to be able to see what's inside. But if you do the cutouts, you're going to obviously want your front church that's going to get layered over top of this base. You want your window cutouts to line up. So let me show you how you're going to want to do that. When I did mine, I found it really simple. Let's say we're going to put that on our cutting plate. I took my window and door cutouts for the front of the church, and I just centered it inside of this opening and just nested it right up against this bottom edge here. That score, where it's going to score that line, this metal edge, just line that up nicely right there. Put a post-it note there if you need to secure it in place. And then when you cut your church front, do the same thing. Take the church front die and then this window cutout piece again, and just center it inside, and then once again just nest it right up against that bottom edge. And that way when you have both pieces cut, they're going to line up really nicely for you. Okay, so that little tip out of the way, let's go ahead and assemble. And if you're familiar with any of the petite places, assembly for these is really pretty similar. There's score lines already built into the dies. So like I always tell you when I have done all the petite places videos, I like to kind of start from the front side of those score lines to get those started, because the die impresses those score lines from the front of your cardstock. They're going to be a little more prominent on the front side, and I just find it's easier to get them started from the front, and then I can move on from there and push them towards the back. This roof flap, let me give you one little tip about that. If you're going to be tucking your flaps inside, like this one, where they're tucked inside instead of up, like I showed you could attach the handle. If you want to tuck them inside, what's going to help you a lot is to make sure you get a really nice sharp crease right here at that roof line. In fact, I take mine and I fold it all the way down to the back side and really give it a good crease. Okay, that's going to help those tabs stay in place. Okay, we have our second die cut piece here. We're going to go ahead and do the same thing. Fold on all of those score lines. And then this roof piece again, I'm going to give that a really sharp crease to the back side. One other thing I should mention here, if you want to be able to insert a tea light into your little house, this is the time, before you assemble it, this is the time you want to take steps to make that happen. When I did a few of mine with a tea light, what I did is I took a circle die. I think I used a 1 3/4 inch limitless layers circle, and which was a great fit. This is a little tea light. That was a great fit for a tea light. And I just ran my pieces through my die cutting machine with a circle die on that flap, both of those flaps. And that way, when you fold it up, you can just put a tea light inside. You can see how these little side flaps do extend past that opening. You're going to probably just take a scissors and trim those out of there. That's what I did. Okay, so let's go ahead and assemble this little church. I'm just going to put score tape on the side flaps, both of them. And then I'm also going to put score tape on the wrong side of the base flap that's on the front of the church. So on the wrong side of the front of the church. Okay, and then alright, so line that up. And then same thing here. Oops, I missed a fold here. Okay, adhere those sides together. Okay, and then for these, it depends on how you want to close up the top, but a lot of times in the petite places, I advise you to leave the bottom open and do the bottom last. But on these, you can go ahead and close up the bottom. So we'll go do that. Okay. Push inside of there to make sure my flaps are all stuck down really well. Okay. Here's the front of our church. You can go ahead and stick those flaps inside. However you want to finish off the top, that's up to you. You can do that now. Okay, and then you can go ahead and take some adhesive and just adhere that front piece on there. And then you can go ahead and embellish it however you want. Add the window frames, the door frame, however you want to embellish that. Alright, so that wraps up the introduction to the Tiny Town dies, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying all of the anniversary celebration over at Papertrey Inc. And the new Tiny Town dies will be available for purchase beginning on February 15 from the Papertrey Inc. website. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you again soon. This has been Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Inc.